Welcome back to episode 2 of the Python for Cybersecurity series. In the last video, we got everything set up and ran our very first script, right? But to build actual security tools like password crackers or scanners, we need to store and manipulate data, right? So today we are going to learn about variables and data types. This is the foundation of every script you will ever write. We'll be learning this by building a mini project, a script that takes a target's info and stores it. So let's dive in. Right, okay, before everything, I'll create a new file. Just go here, click this icon. So we'll write, what is it? Variables, no? Our new topic, variables dot py, right? Okay, variables. So, what is a variable actually? Think of a variable as a container, a box, right, where you store data use later. In a code, you give this box a name, and then you put some information inside, right? For example, when you scan a network, right, you need to store the target IP address. Okay, so you create a variable called target IP, and you store the address there. So now I'll show you an example, right? We'll just create an variable called target IP equals. So we'll just give a random IP address like 192.168. I just suggest me. I'll use this 168.1.1, right? Okay. So now here, the target IP is a variable where the value inside is this one, this IP address, right? So then simply I can print this on my screen with the print statement, right? It's print target IP, right? Simple. Then you can click this button. Okay. Yeah, there you see. So once we assign a value to this target IP variable, then we can what? We can print the value inside by writing a statement like this. Okay, now we are asking Python to print the value inside this target IP variable, right? So that's the concept. For example, this concept to be clear, I'll type another one. Except target IP, what? Now we'll say network, right? We'll say network, right? I'll just, they're suggesting me a network with CID information, right? I'll say it my network. The network variable is stored this, what? These two words, my network, right? Then I can print it. Print what? Now network, right? The variable name. Okay, if I run this, there you will see, right? This result came actually, right? This result came from my previous print statement, and this result came from my last statement, right? Because Python is an interpreter, right? I mean, it is using an interpreter, so it executes the codes line by line. So after this, it executes this. Simple, no? Right. Okay, right. Now, we're going to talk about data types, right? It is an essential topic in cybersecurity, okay? So Python has different ways to store data, right? These are called data types. The first method is where we use what? Strings. Okay, first one is strings. In here, Python, we use it as str in programming, str, short form. Okay, now, for example, if I write name equals what charge, yeah, we'll say John, right? We say John, name equals John, okay? So here actually, now you can understand, right? This is strings for text, okay? So then this is a text, right? I mean, this is a text variable, or the data type is text or strings, right? So, I mean, usually we use this for usernames and password, right, in cybersecurity. And the other thing is, always the strings must be inside what? These quotes, these quotation marks. Okay. For example, what is it? We'll say, yeah, we'll get first name and last name, right? No, not name. We get address. We say address. Yeah. Now we'll give 123 main issue, right? So, right, you can have spaces. It's okay, but once you stop writing the string, right? I mean, you have to close it. You have to close it with a quotation mark, right? So keep in mind, right? Every string, every string you have to write inside quotation marks. So that's the C, right? Okay. So the second data type is, what is it? It is integers, right? Integers. Okay. The short form is what? It's int. Okay. It's int. Right. For example, like this. Yeah. Age equals 30. Right. I mean, if we look at it from what in the cybersecurity area, what we'll say? We'll say number of networks. What number of networks? It is 3, right? Now these are just numbers, right? These are just numbers. So we don't put the quotation marks there, right? So they're just numbers. So the data type is integer, right? So this can contain, I mean, the integers can contain whole numbers, right? Whole numbers from 0 to, yeah, 0 to infinity, right? Okay. And even it can take negative numbers too, right? But not decimals, right? I mean, we have another data type for that, like float. I mean, we are going to discuss about it after this, right? So, for example, a number of networks, then I'll say port. Now we know ports, right? Like, what is it? We can have, right, 8080, port 8080, right? We can have port 22, like this. Okay. So these are what? These are integers, right? These are integers. Okay. Then we are going to talk about the next part. It is what? It is float. It is float, right? Float. Okay. Float means simply these are the what? These are the native. These are decimal values, right? Numbers with decimals. Okay. I mean, we can use it for like latency or ping speeds, right? I mean, when you type the ping command here, for example, right, ping google.com, right? There you'll see it's ping google.com. Yeah, it's request timeout. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, we'll just pause it, right? Right, okay. We cannot see the latency there, but it's okay. I'll show you an example. Like I'll say latency. Latency equals 0.5, like this. Okay. Now it just stores. Oh yeah, they are searching as bandwidth. Okay, we'll use bandwidth too. It's 100.0, right? So it just decimal numbers. Okay. Right. So the last data type that we are going to talk about here is what? It's Boolean. Simply it's bool, right? The data type is bool. So what is it? It's simply true or false logic. Okay. So what? I mean, it is used to check, right? The connection is just like, okay, yeah, this is the example, of course. Now, the visual codes AI, I mean, suggesting me the correct examples, right? Actually, is corrected equals true, right? Yeah. Now, okay. Now, if I write, what? Like, what? Is authenticated, of course, it's false. Okay. Now, I'll just use this AI what auto completion feature. I mean, it's much easier for me. Okay. It just keep giving me some what suggestions. Okay, right. So these are the four data types now we are going to talk here is strings, integers, float, and boolean, right? Now there's another trick. I mean, we can print these things one by one here, like this, including, I mean, with the data type, okay? So what I'm going to do is now, I just comment all these things, okay? Oops, I'm sorry. I just comment these things, keeping only the strings part, right? Strings part. Here I can type print name and print address. Okay, right. If I click the run button, now you will see that, right? Here it's John, the name is John, and what? The address is 123 Main Street. Now, how can we see the data type, right? It's just simple, right? Just we'll have a print type, what? It's name. I'll copy this line, okay? Copy this line and paste it down here and just rename it this as what? Address. Okay. If I run this again, now you'll see, right? Name is John, address is 123 Main Street, and the class, right? The class is strings, okay? That's what str means, right? Okay, so that's it. And now I just comment this part and I'll set this part free, okay? I just remove the comments, okay? Here, now I can print these values also, right? In my terminal, I just write a print. It's age. Print. But it's number of networks. Sorry, and print its port, and what? That's all, right? Print port. Okay. Now, if I run this command, yeah, you will see only the numbers coming, right? Only the numbers coming, the whole numbers, right? So why we're getting this value for port actually? Why? I mean, the first value we assigned is 8080, right? I mean, we should get that, right? Because the priority should be given to the first port. So why are we getting this 22, right? It's because the earlier reason, right? Python is an interpreter, so it executes the codes line by line, right? So first we assign, of course, that's true. First we assign 8080 for the port, but then we assign 22 for the port. So the final value the port has is 22, right? So that's why it prints it. Right. I mean, we can print the data type here also. I just have a print statement, right? Print this type. What is it? It's age, right? It's age. Again, it's print type number of networks. Again, print type port. Okay. If I run this, yeah, there you'll see. Now we have 33, 22, right? As default, those whole numbers. And we have here the data types, right? They are classes actually. I mean, class int. Now these numbers belong to the class int, right? Class int means the data type is integers, right? Integers. Okay. Now I'll comment this part too. And now yeah. Now we are going to check this part, the float values. Okay. Here, I just print latency, and I just print bandwidth. Okay. And I print the data type too. That's easy. Print bandwidth. Okay. So if I run this script again, not a script actually, just some lines of code, right? You will see here. Now it's displaying, yeah, what's the value inside the latency variable, right? It is 0.5. And within the bandwidth value, we have 100.0. So both of these variables, right, contains values belong to float class, right? So the data type is float. Float means what? It's just decimal numbers. Okay, right. So I'll just come in this part too, and I'll go down. Right. Okay. Right now we'll just check this part. Now what we're going to do is, right, I'm going to write print command is connected. And again, I'm sorry, print is authenticated. Again, we will check the data type 2. Okay, then we'll run this file. Okay, now here you will see now the is connected has a value true, and the what? Sorry, I mean is authenticated variable has the value false, right? Now both of these values are bool, right? The data type is bool, I mean, which is boolean. Okay, so I hope you got it right. I mean, they are just easy concepts, right? These are data types. I mean, main data types we usually use in Python. Okay. I hope you got it. Right. Okay. Now this is the most interesting part of the video, right? So now we are going to build a mini project where I would call it as a targets info collector, right? I mean, we'll name it as like this. Okay. Target info collector, right? Okay. Now first I'll have a print statement like this. Like security 2. We'll have a version info, so version 1.0. Okay, version 1.0. Then what we are going to do is now, so this time here we are going to take an input from the user, right? I mean, the one who uses this tool. For that, I just create a variable called target. I mean, put the equal sign and just I'll type input and open brackets. Within that, the text to be displayed to get the input, right? Enter the target IP, IP address. And I just keep a space here, right? So that the, I mean, process of getting the input is clear, right? Then I'll just hit enter. Then I'll type again another variable, right? Port. We'll get the port also, and it is also an input, right? And we'll say enter the port number. Okay, and it will get the port number, right? Okay, then what we are going to do is, I mean, we'll just print a separator like this. I mean, a line like this, which separates the inputs and the output in the screen. Yeah, that's it, right? So many icons, right? Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'll just print what? So the name we used there was right target, right, for the video. I'll say scanning target colon and space. Now here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add what the target. I mean the string, right, where we tool, right, to the scanning target text. I mean this is in Python we call this as concatenation, right? It's concatenation. Okay, and then I'm going to print right the selected port capital I mean, sorry, port as what plus the variable name port. Okay, right. So I mean here also, I mean we can define what type of input it takes, right? I mean for target and the port number. Now by default it takes these things as strings. Okay, it takes these strings as strings. I mean for any further calculation we can take the target and the port number like into. So I mean I'll show you that too. I mean you know, if you want to strictly, I mean if you want to force it for this target variable to get string input, we can say it as str. We had to open a bracket, we had to close that bracket, right? Then for the port, I mean I'll say it as an int, I mean integer. I'll close this, right? Now for the For this to be clear, I just comment out this part, and simply I'll type the what? Simply I'll type the data types of these things. Type what? I'll first type target city type, and I'll type the ports data type, right? Okay. Now I'll just run this thing here. Now actually we have to give an input, right? So I'll just say 192.168.1.1. Port number it's 8080. There you see, right? Now first one is string, second one is integer, because we force the port, right? Force the variable port to get the input as an integer value, right? So if I change this to a string and run the same program again, it's 192.168.1.1, and the port number is 8080. So now what we have is both are strings, right? Both are strings, right? So I just wanted to show you that part too, right? So whatever, right? Now if I remove this, the default input values will be what? They are strings. Okay. Now we have this part too. Now the most interesting part. So now let's run our tiny program. I just clear this terminal, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's showing, right? Security tool version 1.0. Now we'll just enter the target IP address. What is it? 192.168.1.1. And the port number is, we'll say now it's 22. There you see, right? There's a break line. And here the scanning target, this is the scanning target 192.168.1.1, and the selected port is 22. Okay. See, so how easy that was, right? We created two variables, right, as target and port, stored the user input, and printed it back to the screen. So you just made an interactive script, right? Isn't it cool? Of course, that's cool, right? Okay, so that's it. So you just mastered the building blocks of Python, right? You can now store data and interact with the user. Okay. So in the next episode, we are going to look at if-else conditions, right? And we'll learn how to make our script smart, like if the port is 80, we'll print it as a web server detected, right? If it's 22, we'll print SSH detected. Isn't it cool, right? Of course it's cool, right? Right. So if you find this useful, if you find this video useful, so hit that like button. Let me know in the comments, right? What variable name would you use to store a password, right? So I'll be reading your replies, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Okay.